WrestleMania 41 is in the books. John Cena has beaten Ric Flair's record and is a 17-time world champion, but somehow it just kind of still didn't feel like WrestleMania. I have a bunch of notes and thoughts here. I wrote it down as winners and losers from both nights. I don't think I'll do it completely that way, but obviously, got to start here with the main event. John Cena versus Cody Rhodes, two pillars of their eras. Cody Rhodes, the current face of WWE, John Cena on this retirement tour, finally turning heel. And the match itself was a lot of fun. It started slow, and it's a little weird because John Cena, for most of it, was like calling the spots out loudly. And I know he's been criticized for that in the past, and it's something that he's joked about before. So I don't know if this was like something meta, like performance art type thing that we were watching as this was happening. But I couldn't help but think back to some of his promos during the build up. And specifically what I was thinking about was when he said, "I'm going to ruin wrestling." And he said he was going to win the title, take it, and leave. And I kind of just kept thinking about that in the scope of this match, and I've been thinking about it in the scope of this match. And if this match was meant to also ruin wrestling, and what the fallout from all of this is going to be, because John Cena won. John Cena did not win clean and straightforward. There was, of course, shenanigans. WrestleMania main event, there has to be shenanigans. But last year, when Cody finally finished the story and won, the shenanigans were incredible. It was like watching a greatest hits of WWE with you had The Rock, you had John Cena come out, you had The Undertaker, you had like this history of WWE almost come out and to help put this match over the finish line and to get Cody Rhodes to beat Roman Reigns' 1,300 plus title reign. He held that title for so long, and it was so important about who was going to be the one that got picked to end that historic reign. And it was Cody Rhodes, and he had to wait 2 full years to do it. He lost at WrestleMania 40 or 39, and then finished the story at WrestleMania 40, and has held the title since then. He needed all the help he could get. He needed Seth Rollins on one leg. He needed all of this help to get the belt. And all it took for the person who toppled Roman Reigns to finally lose his title was John Cena and Travis Scott. There was no Rock. There was no mention of The Rock. There was hardly any Rock in the video package. Like, I don't understand. And I think that that's the thing that is going to just loom over this WrestleMania for years to come. And I know that sounds hyperbolic, but I've been thinking about it because The Rock is on the TKO board. He's one of the heads of the TKO board. He is a literal executive for WWE now. And even still, he couldn't be bothered to be at WrestleMania. I don't know if he had Easter plans. I don't know if he was busy, but he has not appeared on WWE since Elimination Chamber. He was not a part of any of the build. They hardly mentioned him at all in the few promos that we did get between Cody and John Cena. I think Cody said it once, and it just creates this huge like hole in everything, in the logic of the story, in Cody, and in all of it. And I think that the biggest sticking point to me in all of this, obviously it's frustrating that The Rock didn't show up, but all of this started, the John Cena heel turn started because The Rock wanted Cody Rhodes' soul. The Cody Rhodes' soul thing started this all. And he came out and he cut his weird promo on how he wanted Cody's soul. And then he popped up on NXT and did his drunken toast at NXT. And it's just been these weird things with him. And so I don't know if all of this was a pivot because The Rock decided he could show up to Elimination Chamber and like the SmackDown before, or 2 SmackDowns before, whatever it was, if it just worked out that way. But all of it feels just like completely logic defied. Like it has just sent all logic out of the realm of things, because none of the story has been about what John Cena sold his soul for. Because like right now, it looks like all he did was like he wanted to go heel and beat up Cody Rhodes because he was disgusted at the state of things and how Cody Rhodes was. He didn't see him as a champion, and any like none of that involved The Rock. None of that involved Travis Scott. He didn't need either of them to do that. They didn't need this whole big presentation. So instead of building the story off of Cody and John Cena and just telling the story of these two guys, John Cena wants to break the slump of having not won a singles match in 7 years, and he wants to win that world title that break Ric Flair's record before he retires. They have to put in this heel turn to say, oh, John Cena sold his soul to The Rock, and then do nothing with it for 3 months while we build to WrestleMania. And in the meantime, of course, because wrestling fans, all we do is run wild with speculation on things, is all of these, like, who could be joining The Rock? Who else could it be? If John Cena's the big bad, then, like, there needs to be someone else, because Cena's not going to be full-time. Maybe it's going to be so-and-so. Maybe so-and-so turns. Maybe, maybe Seth Rollins turns. Maybe, we get some crazy twist or development or any, and instead, we didn't get any of that. And it felt like everyone in the arena was holding their breath, waiting to see what it was going to be and what the big pivot was going to be. And waiting for that took the air out of the match a lot. Like I said, it was a good match. It was a fun, entertaining match, but everyone was waiting for something. And when it was Travis Scott's music that hit, it was the same song we've been hearing all weekend. It was Fiend. All weekend we've been hearing it. It finally hits. And then he took like 5 minutes to walk down the ramp and pull the ref out, and that ref had to sell it like he was like yanked by a speeding car, and like that was it. That was the big whole payoff to selling your soul to The Rock. John Cena is The Rock will send 120-pound Travis Scott to be your muscle, and he'll take a crossroads, and that'll be that. I don't know. I don't understand it. The logic gap there, it kills me. Because this is a historic night for John Cena. It is a record-breaking night, and he deserves it. He deserves the title. He deserves to break Ric Flair's record. I don't think that's even a question. But everything about it has just been done wrong, or has been handled poorly, I should say. I get that it's subjective. There's no, right or wrong. I will just say, to me, it has been handled poorly. Because now, what John Cena has said he will do is take that title and leave. And he's scheduled for tomorrow for the Raw after Mania. I believe he's scheduled for SmackDown this week as well. And then who knows when we'll see him again. So I don't know if they're going to try to tie The Rock back in now. I hope they don't do anything of the sort. I'm pretty rocked out on this all now. I don't need any more breadcrumbs or shut up and enjoy the ride I'm taking you on when there's no end of the ride. There's no logic to it. There's nothing. There's no payoff. The payoff is Travis Scott walks out and takes a crossroads. I don't know. And that kind of brings me to the second logic gap here that is killing me with this whole thing. Is so the last time The Rock was present was at Elimination Chamber when John Cena turned heel, and John Cena beat Cody Rhodes to a bloody pulp with the belt, I think the ring bell, like fists. He bloodied him like crazy. He beat him to a pulp. So what is this like dumb babyface logic we had to have at the key point of the match where Cody's like, oh man, I could hit John Cena with the belt right now, but I love John Cena. I don't know, like. I don't know. All of this build about like the wanting to be the one that like, sorry John, you're not getting the record off of me. And I know they mentioned John Cena even said it at one point, like, you're gonna have to make a decision. And Cody Rhodes being the good guy to take the high road is one thing, but like it was just awkwardly done. He stands there and he's like, oh, I can't, I don't know. And then, well, what do you think is gonna happen? The last time this situation was around, this guy kicked you in the nuts and beat you to a bloody pulp. And tonight he kicked you in the nuts, hit you with the title, and won. And so, like, afterwards, they had the quick shot of Cody and Brandy walking back to his bus and, like, not wanting to talk afterwards. And it's like, well, yeah, I don't blame him. I don't understand. I think it makes for an interesting story for Cody now on where he goes from this. because I think, this thought of like letting the company down, and of like, man, am I all these things John Cena said? If I can't even beat John Cena, like, what do I do? I tried to be good and take the high road, and this got me nowhere. Look where it got me. So, like, what now? I think it could be an interesting thing for him to explore, an interesting path for him to go down. And I do want to say too, I want to give a shout out to Cody for this reign as champion, as undisputed WWE champion. He was incredible. He did every show. He made all sorts of appearances, house shows. By all accounts, was always taking pictures, signing things, was always staying late. He did everything you would want your top guy to do. This was an absolute home run. Maybe the stories and the defenses didn't always like live up to that, but the standard that he set as a champion that was going night in and night out is something that is extremely commendable, I think. And the shame of it all too is that this night 2 of WrestleMania was incredible. It was like shaping up to be an all-time WrestleMania here. So like I said, I have a couple quick notes, the things I want to get to. We have the triple threat match that started this show. So I'm going to just try to go in a little bit of order here. The triple threat match that started the show tonight, night 2, with Io Sky, Bianca Belair, and Rhea Ripley. What an incredible match. We have had 3 incredible triple threat matches in the span of 2 days. We had this one with the women. We had last night's main event, Saturday night's main event with Punk, Rollins, and Reigns. And if you did not see NXT Stand and Deliver Saturday morning, the Oba Femi, Trick Williams, Javon Evans triple threat was an all-time banger as well. I highly recommend watching that if you did not see it as it was happening. Those guys were amazing. So it's been a great weekend for triple threats, and I'm so glad that Io Sky retained the title to win. The story that they were telling, like, it kind of was telegraphed a bit, in like, she's not going to keep being overlooked. She keeps getting pushed to the side, but I'm glad that they stuck to that. The thing that I don't understand is why Bianca Belair is getting booed out of arenas. Like, what? What are we doing? Like, all logic says she's right in this feud. Like, all wrestling logic says she's right. And at the same time, she's just an incredible athlete and like does all these amazing things. And I don't understand. She got booed so hard making this an entrance that was celebrating like black women and black culture, and had her stepdaughter there as a part of the entrance as well. And what was surely like an incredible moment for them. And I don't know. I don't understand. I don't understand what the hate is, but it feels forced, because I don't understand how you would just watch what is presented on TV and the incredible matches she puts on and be like, nah, not for me. I don't know. I don't understand that one at all. That one baffled me, but everything else, I loved this match. I thought it was so cool how they used the triple threat aspect of it, and how they like set up different near falls, different spots were done really well. Everyone looked great, and Io Sky winning is huge, because now, yes, she was the women's champion, but I don't think people would have put her on that same pedestal as Rhea and Bianca and maybe some of the other top tier women. And I think it's undeniable now. We also had the incredible Sin City street fight with Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest. Damian Priest with a really sick entrance with Kerry King from Slayer just playing him to the ring, just absolutely shredding nonstop. It went on a little long. Like, I was like, okay, like, I think the third time they cut to Priest just going like this, I was like, okay, I'm good. We can get this match rolling now. The match, once it started, was insane. It was exactly what you would have kind of expected. They didn't lean into the Sin City Vegas aspect of it. It was just more brutal. Outside of Drew McIntyre, the absolute legend, taking a selfie mid-match again, tweeting it again. Unbelievable. It was great. I hope that he does that every WrestleMania from now on that he's on. And he picked up the win. He picked up the win with an incredible sequence where he pushed Damian Priest off the top rope, through 2 tables on the outside, then grabbed Priest as he came back into the ring, put his head up against a steel chair that was wedged in the corner, and Claymore kicked him into the chair. And it's funny because I had watched that and I was thinking about like moves that had kind of lost their luster. I was thinking about like super kicks in particular. And I was like, why don't more people put chairs in corners and super kick people into the chair? Like that would make it like a devastating finisher. Like that'd be a cool. And like 5 minutes after I said that, Drew McIntyre hit the Claymore kick into the chair, and I was like, oh my god, am I booking wrestling now? Like, am I a pro wrestling booker now? But really, it was a really good match. Those two dudes had insane chemistry, and they used the weapons stipulation very well. And so this was another huge, like I said, it was a crazy start to the show, because after those two matches at the bar, we go into the fatal 4-way match for the Intercontinental title, where Braun Breaker just continues to look like an absolute freak athlete. If this was any sports league and not just WWE, he would probably be drug tested tomorrow based on some of the things that he did. The number one thing I would love to ask him about is the way he sells and performs some of these moves in these big main event level pay-per-view spots. And like, what I mean by that is, like, you do WrestleMania and you take a suplex and you bounce a little higher off of the mat, or you take a kick and you roll a little faster out of the ring, or you're going for your a couple big spots, and so when you have someone up for the vertical suplex, you hold them for another extra 3 or 4 seconds. Like, do you run the risk of like gassing out more just because you're so hyped? Like, I would just love to hear his conditioning and stamina and how he views all of it, because it's so obvious he is like just a freak athlete compared to some of these other performers. It stands out, like in a industry of people that are like freak athletes, he still looks like a head above them. It's unbelievable to see. And then meanwhile, you had another subplot in this match, which was Finn Balor and Dominic Mysterio and the Judgment Day's dissension. It ended up exactly kind of how I wanted it. Dom Mysterio is the new Intercontinental title holder. He pins Finn Balor. He steals the title away. And we did not get any development on that. And that's something else I noticed over this WrestleMania that I'm really kind of disappointed in. And that's that they got rid of a lot of the like segments. Like a lot of the backstage segments were like responses, like little in-betweens and things. Like all of those vignettes and things are gone. It's all just ads and video packages now. And it's disappointing. I would have loved a follow-up segment after this where they're all celebrating and you get like a little bit of like, hey, Finn Balor's pretty pissed. Like, he's already left. He doesn't want to talk to you. Like any weird little things that you could just add as flourishes to everything, because it just felt like it's not like everyone's gonna, like, if that really happened to you and someone that you thought was like a close friend stole something from you like that, like, you wouldn't be like, oh man, I'm gonna give him a piece of my mind on Monday at 5 o'clock at night. No, you'd be like, I gotta go squash this now because chances are we all have to travel together. Like, I don't know. I would have liked those things. So I was disappointed to just see that those were basically just gone, outside of the Cody Rhodes one where he walked by Kathy Kelly, and that even came out after the official WrestleMania was over. That was technically part of the post show. Everything else was pre-taped segments and interviews and ads. So I don't know. That just another thing that stood out to me. I'm so happy for Dominic Mysterio though. He has done incredible work since turning heel 2 years ago. He has done amazing work. He has been so reliable and he's gotten so good in the ring. And I don't think people realized how good he has gotten. And so to see him get this moment and get the title, and more importantly, to hear that crowd lose their minds for him, to the point that they had him run back down into the ring and hold the title up and celebrate more. Like, are you kidding me? This dude was getting booed out of the build. Like, he couldn't talk. He was getting so booed. And I think just organically, people have started to really appreciate what he does. And I'm really excited to see where he goes from here. Obviously, it's probably going to be a Finn Balor feud first. But, like, I don't know. I don't know what the limit is, what the ceiling is for this now. If he's going to be getting this reaction everywhere they go, I don't know. I think the sky's the limit, and I love it. I'm so happy to see it. And I thought everyone, I don't want to leave Penta out. I've talked about all three of the other guys and not Penta. Penta was incredible. here, and I know I've seen things before on different Raws where people have like highlighted and pointed out botches and things. He was on point tonight. He was incredible. He hit some incredible moves. He worked really well with everyone. It was such an interesting blend of styles to have these four guys together. And I thought he sold like $1,000,000 for everyone. It was really cool to see. And I'm sure he's going to be claiming gold sometime soon here. He's there's no way you can keep titles off of him for long. And then we also did not just have WWE performers. Randy Orton had his open challenge, and I thought it was going to be Rusev, and it turned out to be Joe Hendry. And so what I have written here now in my notes is winner Randy Orton, winner Joe Hendry, loser TNA. And what I mean by that is, so Joe Hendry is the TNA World Champion right now, and he is extremely over. If you did not know who he was at the start of WrestleMania, there's a good chance you know now, or you will look into him more, because that pop for Hendry was unbelievable, and everyone singing his song. It was such a cool moment. And the unfortunate part here is now TNA's world champion was essentially embarrassed in a 3 minute or so like squash match. And then after the match, Randy Orton poses with him a little bit and like seemed to be like talking him up, and then hit him with a second RKO. And so you have TNA's world champion kind of made to look like a little bit of a chump, but it's an incredible moment for your belt to be on screen for a match with Randy Orton at WrestleMania, Randy Orton's 20th year. So I think it's a net positive, but it does a lot for Joe Hendry while it maybe isn't the best look for TNA. So that's kind of how I was seeing it. I think overall though, this is going to be a net positive, and it's an incredible moment for Joe Hendry. Like, what an incredible rise that he has had, and what a run he has been on. We also had night 2. We had AJ Styles, Logan Paul. I think the one thing about this match was this was really one that kind of made me like key in on the like technical aspects of things, the production side of things, because there was a moment where Logan Paul hit this lion salt where AJ Styles must have been 3/4 across the ring, and he hit it like flush. It was an incredibly athletic accomplishment and a move, but like the camera angle didn't show you how far it actually was. The camera angle was pointed like from outside the ring in through the ropes. So you had like a front shot of Logan Paul flipping off and across and landing on AJ Styles, but it wasn't until they showed the replay that you could see exactly what was so impressive about it. And I after I saw that, I kind of started thinking more and more about like there have been a lot of like Kevin Dunn style fast cuts here. It's not as cinematic as it normally is, like on Raw and SmackDown, where they get these shots and let these moments breathe. Um, and I don't know. I don't know if that's just a specific thing because it's WrestleMania or what, but it just didn't feel how the product has felt recently. And the quick cuts and the weird angles and the fast angles, it just, I don't know. It just doesn't work. It's jarring compared to what it's been, where you have moments where, the camera just holds on a specific shot for, a minute or two. It's such a drastic change of pace. And then I also, AJ Styles at WrestleMania, I don't understand like why it's just not happening. Like I don't know why the match quality isn't there. And maybe part of it is he gets like the weird like wrestling partners. He wrestled Shane McMahon that one year. I don't know. He did the Boneyard match with the Undertaker. That was the cinematic match, which was a lot of fun. I don't understand why it doesn't feel like he has like this incredible WrestleMania resume. It feels like a miss on WWE's part that AJ Styles does not have a huge laundry list of WrestleMania moments. The Shinsuke Nakamura match was disappointing a few years ago for the world title. It just feels like he always has these matches where everyone's excited to see the AJ Styles match, and then it just is and then it just underwhelms for whatever reason. And I don't know if it's from the injuries that he's sustained, if he's slowed down a little bit, if he's playing it a little bit safer, if Logan Paul just isn't experienced enough as a wrestler to, call a match and lead him through it. And it's just a combination of bad things, because they're two athletic performers. They're two talented, good performers. It just, something didn't feel right here, and that combined with all of the cuts and all of the fast pacing on the camera shots and things, it just kind of really underwhelmed. It was disappointing that this would be the match that was disappointing. And then finally, we had the women's tag team match for the titles. It was Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez defending against Lyra Valkyria and mystery partner, who turned out to be Becky Lynch, who returned for the first time since I think it's June 2024. We had not seen her. There was, of course, all the rumors and talk about contracts and had she signed a new contract. And finally, she returned to team with fellow Irish woman Lyra Valkyria, who is now a double champion, because at the end of this match, Becky Lynch dominated Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez to get the pin on Liv Morgan and to win the women's tag team titles. And it just all feels weird. I don't know how else to put it, because it didn't feel like Lyra Valkyria got much out of it, despite being now a 2-belt champion. She is the women's intercontinental champion and now a women's tag team champion. But it didn't feel like she got the big comeback spots or the big hero moments, the big tags. And obviously Becky Lynch is a huge star and super popular, but like when Becky Hogan is trending on social media all night, like it just kind of stands out. It's weird. And then it also does not help Liv and Raquel. Liv has had an incredible year, and this feels like it better be, moving her to a world title picture or something, because I don't know what the point of having her be so dominant and have such a long run just to get it ended like this. And then the other thing is Bayley. Who attacked Bayley? And if this is all building towards Becky Lynch attacked Bayley because she needed a way back in, then that's going to be pretty disappointing, because we just did this with Jade Cargill and Naomi. There was literally just a match about this on night one. So I don't know. I'm interested to see where we go from here. I like having Becky Lynch back in the fold, because it's another top tier women's wrestler. It's another top name for the women's division, and it creates interesting new matchups and interesting wrinkles to things. But I'm hoping that there's something more to this return and what her run is going to be. And I would imagine she would want to come back for something that's like interesting and has a lot to it. So hopefully there's more to come from this, and the women's tag team titles and the women's IC title start to get more TV time regularly as well. Maybe that's a benefit, but I just don't understand, like, built like all of this being like at Bayley's expense. Like I don't know why you wouldn't want Bayley on the card for WrestleMania after the year that she's had. To go from like one of the top 3 or 4 matches from Mania last year to now not even being on the show this year is just an interesting, weird thing. Like it feels like a weird fluke, but I'm really interested to see if anything more comes out about this or what they have planned for her coming out of this. Because if it's just the running back Jade Cargill, Naomi, I think not having Bayley on the WrestleMania card is not, like, running that type of story isn't worth not having her on the card. Overall, though, I do think night 2 was way better than night 1. Night 1 only had a few standout highlights for me, really. I wrote down winners for night 1, and I had Jade Cargill and Naomi. I did really enjoy that match. I thought they were great together. I thought Naomi guided Jade to her best singles match, and I think this heel Naomi maybe the move. Like I don't know. I know how over the glow was and the dancing and everything, but like heel Naomi is legit, and so I hope we get more from this. I was a little disappointed she lost, because I was hoping she would steal a win and then we could keep this feud going with like a crazy stipulation match or something. But as it stands, I thought that this was a good match. It was a good showing for both of them. For Jade, like I said, I think it was her best singles match that she's had. And for Naomi, it showed just how effective this heel character can be. And then I also wrote down LA Knight and Jacob Fatu winners, because those guys both had such good performances that you thought they should be like higher up on the card. LA Knight is someone who I think I underrate his ring work. because it feels like every time going into a LA Knight match, I'm excited for pretty much the other person. Specifically here, definitely, I was excited for Jacob Fatu more. But LA Knight really, really showed out here. I really enjoyed this performance from both of them, and it feels like he just is just someone who works well with anyone he's in the ring with, and that's a incredible trait and versatility to have. And this match was really cool. It was an extremely athletic, fun match. You get Jacob Fatu doing all these crazy things, all his moonsaults and swanton bombs flying around the ring. What an incredible star he is, and this match really went above and beyond to put him over as a dangerous threat. I was surprised he just won. I thought for sure there was going to be some type of Solo Sikoa interference or something to hold off on him getting this gold, but I think him getting the title right away is the smarter move, because there's no denying how over he is, how red hot he is, and just how good he is. I know this might be controversial, I'm not sure, but I also have Tiffany Stratton as a big winner from a night one Saturday. I thought the match with Charlotte Flair was good. It underwhelmed in terms of what I had expected, but it did not devolve fully into like crazy car crash. These two were just out here punching each other and sandbagging each other. I think there were moments where they blurred that line and they tried to blur that line, but like by the end of the match, Tiffany Stratton retains. She's holding the title and she's got a giant knot on her head. She's bleeding from her mouth a little bit and her teeth look like chipped. And she went on Instagram and said, "My teeth are fine. Like, don't worry." And I don't know if she just has a fast dentist or if it was just the angle or something, but she looked like she came out of a war. But I think she really did a lot to showcase what she's about and like put some respect on her name and her title reign here with this performance. And like I said, I kind of wanted more from the match overall. Just when you think about other matches Charlotte has had at WrestleMania, this one didn't quite hit those highs. But I think specifically, too, there were points where they both really put over this desperation, and they did a good job of blurring the lines. Like, I don't know what like might have been real and what wasn't, and I think that that's a kudos to them for being able to keep this match on the rails as much when you think about all the drama and rumors and things that have happened in the lead up to it. So incredible job by both of them, and kudos to Charlotte for helping to put Tiffany over so strong. But I just, I had such high expectations for it. It might have been my fault, honestly, for like expecting, a 5-star classic. But I do think like this will be one when, I go back and watch the show again. This will probably, my opinion on it will probably change. And then my last winner from night one was all 4 of the men that participated in the triple threat main event. That's Seth Rollins, CM Punk, Roman Reigns, and Seth Rollins' new mouthpiece, Paul Heyman. Seth Rollins, the reports are true. He is a Paul Heyman guy now, and it's great. It's going to be a perfect fit. And it's so funny because it's something that so many people saw coming, but it was still executed so well that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that it was a little predictable because it was done so perfectly. And that's an interesting, tough balance to keep, to maintain. But these guys, the match that they told up until this point, the match that they had was amazing. I loved the interactions with everyone. You had the moment where Seth Rollins is telling Roman Reigns, "Listen, I know you don't like me, but just work with me here. Let's take CM Punk out. Let's cut this cancer out. Let's go." And Reigns is like, "Yeah, okay, let's do it. Let's do it." But he lays Seth Rollins out and does it himself, powerbombing CM Punk through the new expensive looking announce tables by himself, just because he can't bring himself to trust him. And I know the Shield callbacks and things have been done to death, especially like in the span of this last week, because they had it on Raw, then you had it on Saturday night with Rollins hitting him with the chair in the back again. Every time someone gets hit or he gets hit with a chair in the back, they're going to be like shades of the Shield, and so that's kind of, I think it's just going to happen at this point. There's not much we can do about it. But like I said, up until this point, the match was great. And I think the story of Roman truly not having anyone he can trust is either going to present an interesting road where he like pushes back towards like lone wolf heel, or we're going to get this weird like introspection, like, I came back and am a babyface now, but I kind of haven't really changed anything I do. So what do I do? And with CM Punk, he's been betrayed by Paul Heyman before. There was the whole thing with uh, Heyman betraying him at Money in the Bank in, I want to say, like 2013, 2014, that led to him going on the warpath. He had to fight through the whole Paul Heyman stable. I think at that time it was Brock, Cesaro, and Curtis Axel. If you were curious about the state of Paul Heyman guys in the early 2010s. But I'm curious. I'm curious to see if the story now is him like, it's what I get. Of course, that's what I get for trusting him again. That's what I get for trusting my friend. And what kind of direction he spins off from here, because I know he's had the feud with Rollins already. This adds a fresh layer to it, but I can't imagine they're going to go back and do like, okay, let's do 3 more Punk Rollins matches. And then also Seth Rollins comes out of this looking like $1,000,000. I said it on the predictions show that I did, and then I kind of said it earlier with Io Sky too. But like Seth Rollins, I don't think was someone that was thought of as on that same top tier as CM Punk and Roman Reigns. And I think after Saturday night, after that win, getting paired up with Paul Heyman, beating both of them in the same match, I really think that he's like solidified himself as upper echelon. And I don't mean that to say that like people that like Seth Rollins like don't see him that way. I don't think that's true. I think it's obviously people think of Seth Rollins as one of the top stars of the company, but I think this type of win showcases that, but a little differently. It makes it a little clearer, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. And I'm fascinated to see what it's going to look like with Paul Heyman, because both of them are such good talkers that this could just be literally heel CM Punk, Paul Heyman 2.0, where you just have two guys that are absolutely killing it on the mic. And I don't know, so many fans were still singing his music at the end of night one that I am curious what they're going to do to fully push him into heel territory here, or if they're going to keep trying to do this as a tweener type of thing. I really don't know, but I think that's everything. Overall, like I said, I think there was a lot of good points, a lot of high points over the two nights, but kind of just didn't feel like WrestleMania. I don't know how else to put it into words. There were moments and times that felt like a Raw. There were a couple things that felt like SummerSlam style. Like, it's like, not to go back to the Cody Cena main event, but like Travis Scott being the big swerve to come out and like awkwardly pull the ref out and take 5 minutes really reminded me of Seth Rollins and John Cena, where Jon Stewart came out with the chair and was like lurching, holding the chair, like, I'm gonna hit Seth Rollins, and then after like a minute of that, turns around and hits Cena, and everyone's like, oh my god, I didn't see that coming. And it just feels like that. It felt like a SummerSlam style ending or a Raw style ending. It didn't feel like the main event, like the way I describe WrestleMania to people that don't watch wrestling. Like when someone's like, what are you doing? What are you watching this weekend? It's WWE's Super Bowl. It's WWE's season finale. And now Monday Night Raw, we're gonna set the deck again and see where the next year of stories or so is gonna go. And this didn't have that feeling. It didn't feel like a series finale or like a big um hit the reset and let's start with brand new stories again. It just felt off, and I don't know if part of that is because so much has to be done with WrestleMania Backlash now next month, or what it's going to end up being, because Backlash I think is only like 3 weeks away, so it's probably going to be a few rematches from here. But I don't know. I hate to say it, but I think a lot of what felt so off to me is the UFCification of everything. You have the mat covered in sponsors. You have them every time in between a match cutting to show you more famous people in the crowd. You have like I don't know. It just didn't feel as showy. It didn't feel like as big a spectacle, I think is ultimately where I'm landing here. Like it didn't have that big spectacle WrestleMania feeling. It felt too grounded. It felt too focused on the wrong things. I think ultimately that's where I land, is it just feels like there was something missing and something just off throughout the night, whether it was inconsistent booking, weirdly timed match times, and just the overall presentation just didn't feel like what they had been pushing so hard for over this last year with Triple H in charge. Like it felt like a step back from all of that. And I think the weird booking decisions kind of compound that. Like, it'd be easy to forgive some things on the production side or on the flow of things, or, there's too many sponsors in the ring, there's too many shots of celebrities reacting. It'd be okay to forgive that if you didn't also have, clearly they bent over backwards to acquiesce to The Rock and to create a moment for Travis Scott because he's a fan. I don't know. It just feels like there's too much courting public mainstream opinion and celebrity status. Like, they gave Logan Paul the win over AJ Styles, and it's like, well, Prime's a top sponsor. You have giant Prime bottles behind him. Of course he's gonna get the win. Like, it just felt like a lot of like catering to influencers and rappers and executives more than the stories and the fans. And I don't know. I'm sure by the time I post this, there will already be stories about Triple H saying like the fans don't know what they want. They don't know. They just got to let it unfold. And we did with this Rock storyline and John Cena selling his soul, and it didn't go anywhere. The biggest show of the year, and The Rock could not be bothered to be there. And I think that speaks volumes about how we're supposed to feel about it now. And like I said, no discredit to John Cena. I am very happy to see him win. I'm fascinated to see if he's going to take his ball and go home, if they're going to run back the CM Punk style story, or what this is going to look like. It's going to be interesting to see. I just think that putting so much emphasis on things and then pulling the rug out and not following through isn't on the fans. Like, upset fans aren't to blame for that. And I think it's disappointing that that'll overall be this WrestleMania's legacy for me, compared to how good 40 was, and compared to the gut punch of 39 that ended with Roman winning. That surprise, that stunned silence of Roman winning is something I thought about a lot with this too. And so I don't know. We'll see what happens Monday, and if some crazy stuff starts to happen on the Raw after Mania, I'll be right back here. But for now, I don't know. I'm just a little disappointed. There was so much to like, but some of those big swings and misses just kind of sucked the air out of everything.